Let's check out Genesis 1 and 2 today. I just want to give a brief perspective and touch on a few things that stood out to me about Elohim and Yahweh Elohim. The first chapter is about Elohim creating everything within creation and how he went about doing it, bare basics. And then the second chapter is about his intimacy with the creation and the main lead figure in his creation. I want to do a series of these videos for a long while until Elohim, Yahweh, tells me to stop. But it's just me and my journey of getting to know him, and I want you to dive into it with me. We all are called to have our own intimate relationship with God. And so it's up to us as individuals to seek him out. But sometimes we need help from other people to do that. And the Spirit will move you in ways to help you to do that for other people. And I feel that the Spirit is moving me to do this for people, to share my walk of what I learn and what I get from the scriptures that Elohim is teaching me. So Genesis 1. I really like Genesis 1. I like the whole Bible. But Genesis 1 is so beautiful because you have in verse 1, you have Elohim, God, seeing this voidness, this chaos, this discord existing. And from that he decides and he chooses to bring forth order and to bring forth soundness and to bring forth a beautiful work of art in creation. And what Elohim literally does is he speaks it. He speaks it and he breaks what was chaos and he turns it into something beautiful and order. Literally with his words he breaks chaos. And that shows a big aspect of Elohim that we need to pay attention to. God is not a God of chaos. He's a God of order. So whenever you see things that aren't in order in your life, know that it is not God's character. It's not God's nature. So you got to figure out whose nature is it. After this, you see him systematically put everything in its place. He speaks vegetation. He speaks the mammals. He speaks the sea creatures, the creatures of the deep, and he creates these waters within the waters, the firmaments, and the streams within the ocean, and the streams on the land. And he creates everything and puts every single thing in its place perfectly. Then he does something a little different. After speaking every single animal, every single creature, whether it was air, land, or sea, he spoke those. He does something different. And what he does is he takes a man, Adam. He takes Adam and he forms him. Of all of the creation in the whole vast universe that he spoke, God chose to handcraft Adam, to get real physical with Adam. And then even greater than that, after forming him with his very hand, God breathed into his nostrils. So it shows there in God's character that we have a different connection than all creation with him. He wants to be super intimate with us. Then what we see is Elohim, he finishes all creation and he rests. I don't know why he rests. He's Elohim. He's God. But he rests. And then what we see is Elohim changes his character. So after he creates everything, he changes his character and he becomes Yahweh Elohim. And you notice that in verse 4. And what we see in chapter 2 is God even gets more intricate with his creation, especially with Adam. He sees that Adam is missing something. Adam isn't complete. Remember, Elohim, and now Yahweh Elohim, is a God of order, not a God of chaos. And so he wants everything to be complete, everything to be in order. So what he does is he strategically finds or helps Adam to look for a suitable helper. None is to be found. So, what Yahweh Elohim does is he causes a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. And then he, just like Adam, Yahweh Elohim forms from Adam a suitable helper. Another thing that stood out to me, and we forget this as mankind, and it also shows how the enemy is strategically trying to destroy the image of God and trying to cause disorder from the order that God established from disorder. He's Elohim, Yahweh Elohim, said that it is not good for man to be alone. And so he made Eve. He made woman. What I take from this is that Yahweh Elohim, he can do whatever he wants. He's God. But he himself says that it is not good for man to be alone. And so in his eye, we are incomplete. And we forget, men and women, that we need each other, that the two become one, that there is unity. And we look at the enemy, he's so strategic. He did it within, here in America as we look at it, he caused disorder with the transatlantic slave trade, where he separated man and woman to capitalize on men and women. And you see now today, they're pushing a whole different agenda that's even more twisted and evil than that. And it's destroying the image of God. And those of you who ain't catching on to what I'm saying, that's on y'all. But you have to look at it. If it's not in order, if it's not the way that God created it, it's not from God. However you feel about it, whatever you think, we have to understand that Yahweh Elohim, he is God. He is creator. He knows best. We mess up. We make mistakes. We don't know what's best. We think we do, but we don't. And when we think we do things that are outside of God's order, and it causes disorder in our lives and disorder in the world. And in turn, it hurts and harms us. So I want you to continue in the scriptures. I want you to dive deep on your own. Look at Genesis 1 and 2. And drop it in the comments. Let me know what you pulled out of Genesis 1 and 2. Let me know if you agree with some of my concepts or disagree. I want to discuss it. I pray that your journey with God grows closer and closer. And I say God to those of you who are just starting your journey and don't understand God's nature. I'm learning God's nature. I'm getting closer and closer to him. And so I use God as a way to be relatable. And I think it's easier for new beginners to grasp God versus Yahweh Elohim. Like, who's that? It's the same person, but he just have different character traits. So, and if you're new to this channel, I talk about a lot of things, but it's all built upon building you in who God created you to be. So whether it's finance, whether it's most importantly spirituality, whether it's just a little bit of motivation for the day to get you through a tough day, that's what I'm about. So go with peace, my friends. Spread love. Always, always be kind. And do unto others what you would like done unto you. Peace.